You are listening to Level Up Your Gaming Podcast, episode 99, Better Character Creation. Today we talk about better character creation. We discuss the things that make for better character creation and what to avoid. We discuss how to make meaningful motivations and background information that is useful to your GM. If you'd like to participate in the discussion or leave us feedback, you can contact us at levelupyourgamingpodcast@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/levelupyourgaming. If you like the content and want to hear more of the show, subscribing will ensure you don't miss an episode. New episodes come out almost every Wednesday. Also, please review, tell a friend about the podcast, or share with your gaming group. Now sit back and enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the Level Up Your Gaming Podcast. My name is Aaron, and joining me in person once again, Jared. I'm just gonna go with Jared today.
You're gonna move the shtick.
I mean, we're almost at this is
100 episodes.
We're almost at 100 episodes. Perhaps it's time to remove the shtick. Maybe it's time to make it a little bit more like you got to tune in if you want to know, did he do the shtick this week or not?
I'm okay with removal of the shtick.
I can just introduce you as Jared and say, "How you doing, Jared?" You don't have to have a witty line that relates to the episode.
No, because it's truly the content of the episode that should be the star of the show.
Because just like we're going to talk about better character creation today, we can make a better podcast tomorrow.
That was a pretty good. That was a strong intro right there.
So today we're going to talk about better character creation.
Better character creation. So I have one piece of advice about better character creation. Do not do what Aaron does.
No, do what Aaron does because that's how you.
Takes 50 hours.
Because that's how you get better characters.
It's true. It's true. Actually, Aaron does a great job on character creation.
All right, now. It's evolved a little bit. I've gotten a little bit quicker. I used to be really
oh
bad.
My God, it was like one whole night. It used to be, or I'd say half the night.
It was a good amount of time.
But your characters really came out very complete.
So, I'll give you the example of how I used to create characters. So, how I used to create characters is again because we played World of Darkness. And so typically you're choosing some combination of three things to kind of make up a story, a power set, something like that. So in order to inform the character, I would typically look at the powers that I maybe wanted to have. Mm-hmm. Okay, this isn't the best way to do it, but I would then fill in, the type of character that I wanted to have around the powers. Like, does it make sense? Okay, like do the dots line up, and does this make sense? And I think that's a great way to do it. The way the book tells you to do it is to go from A to B to C, and so it's like a character concept. Then put your attributes, then put your skills, then choose your powers. Now here's the problem. Okay, the process should be more fluid. It should be as I develop skills, maybe I need to go back and flip some things in attributes, or as I start putting in skill points, maybe I need to go beef up this skill point a little bit more. If you're playing something like a Star Wars game, as you're starting to develop the character, maybe you go, you know what, I also need to know to be a pilot because it just fits for the character. It makes sense. What I would urge you to do to become a better character creator, and where I flipped from being where I started, which was making sure that the dots matched up best to work out with the powers, is to eventually move into who is the person that I am making and what skills, attributes, and things do I need to give this person the personality of the person that I made. Okay? You can fill in the extra little dots with in White Wolf, they call them freebie points. You can go back and you can move them around in D&D, I suppose, or whatever you need to end up doing. The D&D character creation is pretty light. I mean, it's pretty quick. But in a more complex game, a la Star Wars, where you've got more skills and stuff, you might need to go back in at the end and kind of move things around because you don't really understand how the point totals go. And again, it comes into more of a mastery thing. But what you want to do is what I've tried to do more recently, and what I think that everybody should do, is
before you get into that, can I counter with your power thing?
Sure.
It's kind of interesting because I should probably get closer to the mic. So one of the interesting things that one of my latest characters, not Rachel, I had a character before that named David. And I built David, right? And it turned out that I created this IT guy, right? And one of the things that I did was I was like, okay. And I set myself to this because I did a lot like Aaron did, where I kind of created this character to match the power set to match the character, right? And it's very common. Like if you look at I don't know, let's take a good example. Wolverine. Wolverine's personality matches his name and his power set. He's gritty. He's tough and rough, just like Claws and Wolverine, and it all matches, and it creates a beautiful picture, and it creates a good character. Honestly, I don't see too much wrong with that, creating that perfect togetherness. I don't. That might be good for starting off and for your first couple of years in venturing into role playing. But we're looking at ways of expanding. When I created David,
we're looking to leveling up your game.
When I created David, I literally said, "You don't get to pick your powers." Because think about it. What if the powers of Wolverine happen to, like, your stereotypical Southern California blonde, like, I like shoe shopping, and she's the one who grows claws, You don't get to pick that.
This is ruining my cuticles.
Or, like, I get highly damaged and I regen, So with David, I created this IT guy. He was very computer oriented. And what did he have for his powers? Essentially, his first level was like beast powers. He had like beast senses, and like everything was. I went to a random generator and I was like, generate my power for me. I went that far where I was like, I don't even want to pick the power because the power picks you, right?
Mm-hmm. And
then it's how the character adapts to that power. So I just wanted to kind of put that in there as a juxtaposition to, there's this portrait perfect character creation. And then there's the, when it comes to powers, right? And then there's the random chaotic, like I was this person and for some odd reason the jungle runs through my veins, which was perfect for David because it made a very interesting juxtaposition. And he hated his powers. He feared his powers.
Ironically, I think that's the better way to do it. Now that I look on it today, the idea is in White Wolf specifically. So I'm going to use this as the example, but I mean all other systems have some sort of like comp for what the stat line would equate to in terms of what and who you are. I don't think it's the same case in D&D 5e. In older versions of D&D, this could very well be the case. So I'm not going to speak to them. But the idea is that I am going to make the man behind this character. So, like, you know what? I do mild jogging. I don't live a completely sedentary lifestyle. I give my character 1 athletics. Okay? I just do enough to...
You're not going to give him 4?
I'm not going to give him 4. Because, again, remember, in White Wolf, you're working on a scale of 1 being below average, 2 being average, 3 being above average, 4 being, like, professional, 5 being exceptional, like, world renowned. Okay? Like, that's the scale. So, in a skill or in an attribute or something like that, you have to match that up. And it's always tough because... I know there's going to be combat, okay? And athletics is important in combat because it's all about dodging, all right? But the reality is that the character doesn't have that. And so 2 parts of this come in where I have been able to create better characters because I have a great GM, okay? And that GM has realized that my desire to create better characters he is going to put more reasonable challenges in front of me for that character to handle. Okay?
Yeah.
And so what does it take to really create better characters? Well, I'm going to sum it up right now. It takes that trust. Okay? Will your GM honor the character that you put on the sheet and say, I'm going to present you with challenges that are commiserate with that power, or I will present you with challenges that are maybe outside of the bounds or push that character, and you get to decide whether or not you want to encounter or take on those challenges. I speak to that from maybe the D&D side of this, where maybe you run into a creature's lair that is unwieldy and impossible for your character to handle. Like, it's just beyond the challenge rating for your character because you made a suboptimal character. And this is my thing that I'm asking you to do is make a suboptimal character. I'm asking you to make the character and not the best possible character. I'm not asking you to make Legolas. I'm asking you to make somebody who was from the village that Legolas lived in, and he's just not as good of a ranger as Legolas.
I mean, that is such a thing, like everyone's like, I want to build Legolas. Yeah, the story of Lord of the Rings was fantastic. And Legolas was great in that. But you know what? Whose story it is? Look at the Lord of the Rings. It's not a story of Legolas. Who's it the story of? Not Bilbo. Fuck, what's his name?
Bilbo Baggins?
No.
Frodo.
It's the story of Frodo. That's the story in Lord of the Rings. And Frodo starts as a level 0 hero. He's not good at mountaineering. He's not a fantastic fighter. He doesn't even know how to hold the pointy end of a sword.
In fact, it's probably his best skill is hiding.
Hiding is his fantastic skill. But notice this. So the story goes where he progresses and becomes this out of a level 0 hero to, this I have Sting. Sting was his sword, right?
Yeah, so this is the thing. We can't all be Legolas. We can't all be Conan the Barbarian. Okay, we can't all.
Well, you can. It just doesn't lead to stories of growth. It takes a lot away, because if you look at modern storytelling, right, the hero's journey. Look it up. You know what I mean? It's one of growth. That is the classic hero's journey. It's one of growth. Look at most movies. It is about growth. Right? Let's not talk about like B-rated action films. Okay, let's talk about Academy Award winners. It's about growth. And with no growth,
or if you're in the Fast and Furious, it's about family. So
go home. It's about family, bro. Family. But even in Fast and Furious, I think there's a little bit of character growth. There's supposed to be. There is for the hero,
A good movie is going to have character growth. It's going to have the person going from, again, we often speak of the hero's journey. And again, maybe this isn't the game that you want to tell. Maybe you don't want to tell the hero's journey. But I would say that more often than not, try to convince your players to play heroes versus villains or miscreants that don't really give a crap about anything. The reason why, if you are miscreants that don't give a crap about anything, you still have the hero's journey because they can become heroes.
Exactly. If they start off as like, we don't give a fuck about humanity, and you can change that. You as a storyteller take this ragtag team of mercenaries who don't give a shit about people. A great example of that. Tears of the Sun. Fantastic film analysis, right? Long story short, Bruce Willis commands a team of Navy SEALs who are, they're tired, they're battle worn, right? They're ordered to go extract a civilian out of an African country that is in the middle of a coup, right? A violent coup. So they go in, and the only thing they give a fuck about is getting the one person out, right? That's all they care about, is getting this doctor who's an American citizen out of the hot zone. Grab her. We're going to move to the extraction point. She refuses to leave. She says, no, I won't leave until we get all these people to safety. Okay? And then there's this moral conundrum because they're like, we should just drug her and take her away. Eventually, they make this decision, okay, we're going to take the people with us, and then we're going to leave them behind, right? And they do this. They take the people with them to some place to the extraction point, and then they're like, cool, we're gonna slam you in a helicopter, and us, and we're gonna leave these people behind. But along that journey, they learn the people, they help the people. The people endear themselves to these very battle rugged Navy SEALs, and they bring the helicopters back. They can't leave the people behind to be slaughtered by the evil group, the I don't know, coup people, right? And then they are like, okay, we're gonna walk these people all the way to the border, and they're gonna get them to the border, and there's a heroic gunfight, and oh my god, it ends like these people are the whole team dies except for like 2 people. But they go out like fucking heroes. That's a story. That's a bunch of tired, ethically worn down, morally worn down, we're at the edge, we're cold-blooded killers transforming into goddamn heroes. They're still rough, they're still a little ragged, but there's a heart there that they didn't have before. And suddenly it's fucking amazing. So you can even take that ragtag group, and if you want to level up your gaming, guide them into a hero's journey, one of growth. Know your players, right? Start taking those character concepts, those character traits. And it does start with, because we're getting mildly off topic, into the hero's journey. Oh, God, we suck. We're so bad at this. It does start with characters and players who are pliable, right? If you have players that are like, no, we're always just not going to give a fuck, you got a hard battle to play. But back to characters.
Back to the characters. One thing that you can do beyond just building the character and then trusting your GM is building a character that will grow into something, that has a place to go. So, like, the problem with the original premise about building the character that for the power set is that I know the end power set that I want.
Right.
Okay? And I'm sort of mapped out the way the character is going to get there, regardless of how Jared tells the story. Okay? And that's not a good place to be in. Like, you don't want to have your character, you want your character to grow as a result of the story. Not your character is going to grow to learn level 37 fireball so you can, destroy armies. Okay? Like, that doesn't do me any good as a GM. Like, what if your game is set in a completely different place and now you don't have the right skills and you need to learn new skills, things like that. Okay? And this is the problem with creating a character to work into a power set. Is that character has no room for growth, because if I have to deviate off the power set, now I no longer can achieve the power set by session 39, which is what I calculated is the correct number of sessions to get to my power set.
I need to kill exactly 1 goblin per session.
Okay? Like, your goal shouldn't be I need to get to the power set, and it becomes tougher too at that point, which is I built this character to do this one thing really well, or to do these couple of things really well, and now you're telling a story, and now I'm thinking, well, maybe I need to have these skills to kind of go along with it to be able to round out and be more effective in this game. And I'm not going to say that's a failure of session 0, because it's not a failure of session 0. It's a failure of you creating your character poorly. In session 0, I guarantee you your GM has told you how the game is supposed to be, or the type of game that you're going to play. You are just really focused on creating a power set. And if you had created a more well-rounded character, you'd be more interested in learning the skills that you need to round your character out.
And that comes to something for me that ignites something in me, a spark. Ignites a spark. So I used to ask my players all the time, what's your character motivation, right? What do you want your character to achieve?
Be able to cast level 37 Fireball.
Cool. Right? Now I want to know what the players want to achieve. I want to be able to cast level 37 Powerball. And you know what? Fireball.
Powerball is too much lottery for you.
Way too much lotto. Cast level 730 Powerball. You still lose.
Too many permutations.
You still suck. You lose. Sorry. So the thing is who do you want the character? What do you want to play? You can't play a level 37 Powerball. I almost said it again. You can't play a level 37 Fireball. You can't just play that. What do you want to play at the end? Right? When you get to the top of the mountain. I suck today. When you get to the top of the mountain,
words
hurt. When you get to the top of the mountain,
I swear he's a better GM than this.
It's true. I don't have words right now. Okay, they elude me. When you get to the top of the mountain, who is the character going to be? And you can't say level 37 Fireball. You can't say it. Because here's the thing. You can't be a level 37 Fireball. You can't. You
can be the person that can cast
you
level
can be
37 Fireball.
Dark Wizard. You can be I want to be like Raceland from Dragonlance. Right? Okay. That's something as a storyteller I can work with. And along the hero's journey, I can assist you in getting there. Right? It's not about the power. It's really, for better character creation, you have to create this person. And in creating a person, the person, because here's one of my things where I was wrong in the end, because I'd ask my players, what motivates the character? And they'd be like, I don't know. But that was my fault. Because the character doesn't know the world. You don't know the world. You don't know if there's a dark staff of Agamar, and that's what he wants, right? But you can tell me what kind of character you want at the end. You want a dark wizard. That's what I want to greatly achieve. That's the character I want to play by the end. Because when I give you options of what you play by the end, because here's one of the dividing factors that's really going to hurt. It's tough to overcome. When they say, I want to play Wolverine, there's I want to play it now. I want to be Wolverine now. Just like me. There is a character concept that I love and have never quite gotten there, which is the Iron Bat, right? It's a combination of Iron Man and Batman.
You've tried many a time to play that character combination. But here's the problem, is that
how do I get over the now? How do I get over the right fucking now? And I have an answer for that nowadays. Cool, let's play it.
But so here's the problem with that character. Okay, what do you want to do with that character besides be able to cast level 37 fucking Fireball?
Right. Tell me the person.
Okay, what do you want to do with that character besides being the Iron Bat? Okay, I'll let you be the Iron Bat, or do you want to become the Iron Bat? Do you want to become something?
Now, what if they answer, no, I want to be the Iron Bat.
Okay. What do you want to do next? What does the Iron Bat do?
Yes. What does the Iron Bat do? Yes, that's the question that you need to come back with as a storyteller. What do you want to be next? Let's say I give you the Iron Bat suit.
Where does the Iron Bat go? Where does level 37 Fireball go? Because that's
I love that you named them by their power. Where does level 37 Fireball go? He doesn't have a name. He's just level 37 Fireball.
Because that might as well be his name. I don't care what his name is.
Yes, because to a level, when they don't create a person, Where does level 37 fire? Well, he has a name. No, his name is level 37
No,
Fireball.
his name is level 37 Fireball. Do you just want to be able to throw level 37 Fireball, or do you want to? What does he want to do beyond throw level 37 Fireball?
Because what if you decide, as a storyteller, cool, I'll give you level 37 Fireball starting. Give me a character now. Because here's the thing, as a storyteller, because there is still room for growth even when somebody has that great power. Sometimes it's learning to control that great power, right? Sometimes it's, there's some Marvel superhero. Let's take Superman for an example, right? Superman is not the end of all storytelling. It makes storytelling a lot more difficult. I think it was Matt Fraction who did Superman Unchained. Superman Unchained was a fantastic comic series. If you haven't seen it or read it, I highly recommend it. The story of Superman is not the story of a guy who can fly around. Now, okay, I shouldn't say that because some authors, that's what they do. They're just, Superman flies around and just saves people. The real Superman writers get into, how does Superman live his day, knowing he can hear every whisper about what's said about him? Clark Kent, he's so perfect. How does he control his anger? Clark Kent has emotions. He might have a bad day at work and want to punch a sink or punch something I've done. I've punched a steering wheel. If Superman with too much force punches a steering wheel, the car will explode. Literally, some physicists figured out like Superman's punch would literally just at full punch would atomize things. Just boop, atomize it. How does Superman deal with that? Because there's a person underneath. The best writers say, even underneath this person, I think that's one of the reasons that I love Batman so much, is because Batman doesn't have a power set. It's all the person. Batman's got his technology, yeah, but it's the person underneath, right? It's this man who has lost his parents at a young age and now struggles with trust issues, struggles with this, struggles trusting his own wards. He literally did Robin dirty so many times he went off and became Nightwing and moved to another city.
But that is the essence of building a better character, is who is the person that's underneath this. Okay, and it's not who was the person, okay? And again, this goes back to our background episode, and so I'm going to point this out right now. I don't care what the hell you've done, okay? If it doesn't inform what you want to do next,
yes,
it is pointless, okay? I don't care. People do this all the time. We just did the vampire episode recently.
Don't read backstories.
People just did the vampire episode recently. People build elaborate backgrounds for their vampire and who they were, and who they were before they got sired, and and where they were as they jumped through the centuries with their sire, and blah blah blah. All these elaborate backstories and all this other crap. And then you get to the modern day, and you're like, whoa, that's so much stuff from your backstories. I have some NPCs and things like that you listed out that maybe I want to put out there. But you haven't told me what you want to do. Like, do you want?
How does this enforce your next action?
What do you want to do about any of this stuff? Is this just things that happen to you? Like, does it explain why you? Maybe it is an explainer for why you have skill A. Maybe it is an explainer for why you have immense wealth. Okay, like those things work. Okay, but maybe it is, leave it open-ended a little bit. Like, if you want anyone to even consider using your backstory, okay, it is because I have this in my backstory, this thing in the future could happen. Or this thing from my backstory is an interesting thing that maybe you want to make a story about in the future. Okay, like, again, I go back to the backstory piece of this, that you want to build motivations in character creation. I don't care about what your character used to do and how great they used to be.
I want more universal motivations. That's the thing. That's what I'm looking for as a storyteller. Not motivations towards I want to learn tons of magic. I want more universal motivations. This is why I protect other people. Look at how more universal that is.
That's actually a great one, which is my character did this or this event happened to my character, and that's why my character wants to protect more people. Okay? Good backstory thing with a cause and effect.
and the funny thing is this is something that will motivate your character's next moves. In the future will motivate his moves. I now know as a storyteller, anytime I put a person in need, you're going to help them.
You're going to help them. That's something that your character is motivated to do. I now have something I can always use in the game to help you. That is a backstory element that is actually useful. Okay.
And unfortunately, you know, as a storyteller, when you read a backstory, sometimes you miss those. You know, that's why it's bullet points. So it's God. I'm going to reveal some cards here. Okay. So I loved the first, second, and I haven't seen the third one yet of Westworld. Spoiler alert.
I haven't seen the second one of Westworld.
It's all right.
Okay.
But spoiler alert. Okay, so if you haven't seen the second season of Westworld, might want to skip ahead to Aaron will insert the time to skip ahead to. At the end of the season 2, she finds out the main plot, and essentially what she gets are these books with all these people's what are called core beliefs or core values, right? That is way more informative for a player or for a character, and they're brief sentences, and it's throughout season 2, and I forget what the actual term is. It's like my core programming or something like that. But I was like, wow, and they're broad things. I believe strongly in family. I believe never leave a man behind. These are broad stroke character things. They're core inside, right? I don't leave a job undone. That I can use in the future to create stories, not specific stories for you, but specific stories for everyone that match your character's core belief and will put you into a spotlight role, right? It's going to put you into a spotlight because, like, I never leave a man behind. All I need to do is put an NPC who literally gets left behind. Your character's going back in for him. It's going to bring the rest of the players in, right? Because they're not going to let you go on your own into this heavily fortified city, right? But this is a spotlight for your character, and it's a very silent spotlight because you wrote it in your core values, your core beliefs, and now I'm amplifying that. The player is going to feel like, oh my God, he read my core beliefs and this is one of them, and oh my God, I get to play the story and blah, 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 blah. But your brawler also gets the opportunity to beat shit out of 50 guards, you know? Your thief gets to go in and do reconnaissance. So they still get their spotlight. So broad character motivations, broad core beliefs are so much more valuable than that specific date on which they sailed from Spain to America with their sire. That gives me nothing.
Yeah, I fell in love at this stage. Does not help me make the story better unless, like, because and the other thing too, the really hard thing is that if you put NPCs into a backstory, okay, it's harder for you as a GM to be like, are you gonna get really mad if I kill this NPC? Are you get really mad if I turn this NPC into a villain
or into a good guy?
Into a good guy? Like, are you get mad about that? Like,
people change over the centuries.
Yeah, things happen. So, like, are you going to get really mad if this event has ripples down the timeline, and now you've got some catastrophic event that's going to happen because you decided to put a penny on a railroad track somewhere down the line? Like, I don't know. Like, are you going to get really mad that I bastardize your background story in some way that you don't like? Okay? So, like, instead of me having to touch and fight you on your background story, tell me what from your background and your past creates your future. Or tell me why X put X on your sheet. Okay, a good example of this would be the last character that I played had a fear of. I had two phobias. I had a phobia of being alone in the wilderness, specifically dark wilderness. Okay, and I had a fear of wolves. Okay, and I had a backstory piece that my character encountered, or maybe never did, encounter a wolf in a forest that talked to him and said he wasn't going to eat him yet, but branded him with a mark that burned on the full moon. Okay?
It's great.
I'm like, Jared would never do anything with this, but this explains why I have the phobia. And I'm not, it's not motivation, it's not cause and effect, but my character then, Jared could just simply said, like, I'm going to send you guys into a deep, dark, scary forest. And my character would be like, Nope.
And then it's a story of you overcoming that fear. It's again the hero's journey.
I get to overcome the fear. It's there on the sheet for me to overcome. And again, look for that when you're trying to create characters. Look for obstacles that from their character creation they can then overcome in the story, because then the story feels personal. Then the story feels like, oh my God, the GM sees what I have here. They know what I want to do, or they've taken some stuff that I've got, and now it feels very personal. Or the GM knows that because I was in my town was attacked by werewolves, they know why I have a deep abiding hatred towards werewolves, and why I will protect anyone who claims that there's a werewolf attacking them. Like, you'll help that, or there's a fire in your hometown, something like that. Those are good, effectual things that draw motivation. In this brought me to this point, and Jared's right. It makes the game. It makes it easier for your GM to tell a story, to tell their story. Okay, so the GM gets to say, "This is the story that I want to tell. What are you guys' thoughts on this?" But also interject things that are just super key and pivotal to the player themselves. It's the bullet points better than the paragraphs for the background, but it needs to dictate and draw motivation for your character. It's fine if you want to plan your character out the next 5-10 levels. All right, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Like, you've got an idea where you want to go. Good, but be ready for some change. Maybe you gotta pivot. Okay, maybe you gotta duck and weave a little bit. But if I know where you want to go and why you want to go there, and you have reason to go there from behind the scenes, maybe informed by something from your past, like this is, like Jared said, the core value of my character, and that is why I'm trying to maybe achieve level 37 Fireball. Like, that then gives you a journey. Jared can put story elements in place that make it powerful to achieve that level of power.
And I always love nowadays. I have to admit, like, nowadays I'm all about the powers. The power does not make the game, and you have to respect power levels though, because the balancing is very, very important. But Aaron hit the nail on the head. Now that you've achieved level 37 Fireball or the Iron Bat, what are you going to do next? What's next? What do you use this for? Why does the character need this? Why did they use this? Bruce Wayne puts on, the Bat costume because of X. But Bruce Wayne also has this there's a whole book on the psychology of Batman. We could go on for hours. But coming back to character creation, I always encourage those broad motivations. Where do you want to go? What character do you want to be? You can't play level 37 Fireball. I said that before. Also, randomize. Here's one of the things that I like to experience. When I'm building, even before I build the character, I like to do a little bit of randomization, just a little bit. Mom and dad, what were their jobs? What were they like? Because it's interesting. We always forget about what is so lovingly called the formative years. When you were a child, many of your values, beliefs, and other such things are ingrained in you by parents, friends, Even before your first kiss, you might have values that are instilled in you. I can tell you my faith in Christianity and that was instilled in me by my mother. My mother was Protestant. My father was Russian Orthodox. No wonder I came out to be a Christian. Go figure. You know what I mean? It's so now we've established, who would know that religion would become such a large part of my life. They couldn't have called the ball on that, because I have to say, I think my mom's not even a Christmas Easter Protestant. I don't think my mom's been to church in years. But it goes to show why I follow the Christian faith. We forget about our childhood so much, and our childhood is so pivotal in creating us. But they're so broad. You know what I mean? It's not even events. It's who we grow up with. Do we grow up in a large family, a small family? Did they never get any peace and quiet? That's why they seek out, quiet places to meditate and reflect. There's so much to go on from the childhood. And I did that with Rachel, my character, developing her family. Because here's the hard part is when it comes to a childhood, you don't get to pick your parents. You don't get to pick your family. You know what I mean? And you don't get to pick a lot of events that happen to you when you're a child.
But they can inform a lot of how your character is created. And it creates these broad, very specific, core values. And I encourage when people are playing the character and developing the character, and I respect the person, because Jared's always wanted to play the Iron Bat. The guy who says, I want to play Wolverine. Oh, okay. Do you want to play Wolverine now? Or do you want to work your way towards that? Once you become Wolverine, what happens next? Is it you want to play the gruff, tough hero? Just, when it comes down to better character creation, Aaron hit the nail on the head in the first 5 minutes. It's about creating a person. That's when real storytelling can go on. That's when real character progression can go on. It's about creating that person, because even if they have level 37 fireballs starting off, where do you go next? What if they can cast it? Okay. It still can't, still doesn't like the dark? Is that something? The first journey to level 37 fireball, always cool. After that, where do you go beyond that? Because you're going to tell more stories, or the characters are going to keep going. So you better have, like Jared said, that core value, that core belief. Otherwise, you're going to fall flat at some point in the game. And that's how games fall off, and that's when you start playing a different game. But is that next game just going to be another power grind to Bard Song A? I don't know. You get to decide that, but the thing that keeps storytelling interesting in my mind is, and playing games interesting in my mind, is the fact that you're always trying to be a different character every time, and you're trying to create something better than the last time. Use your previous experiences to inform your new one. Use your previous characters to make a better character. Always try and bring it to the next step.
I think that's a good end on that.
Well, perfect. Awesome. I said it this time. Ha
It was very good. Very poetic.
Well, anyways, if you like the episode, if you have thoughts on creating better characters, any tips that you have, levelupyourgamingpodcast@gmail.com or facebook.com/levelupyourgaming. You can talk to us there, comment on the episode, or even, give us suggestions for your own episode topic that you'd like us to muse on. Also, we are on YouTube, so
smash that like button.
Smash it. And then go ahead and review the podcast, subscribe to the podcast if you aren't already for more of this great content. We're almost at 100 episodes. Listen to the whole discography, because we're going to ask it at episode 100. That's the next episode, if you listen to it all. And share it with a friend, because it's going to be a wild and crazy time. Anyways, that's going to wrap us up for this week. So, for Jared, I'm Aaron. Have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week, everyone.